Very good evening. In this session, I'm going to show you how to develop a real-time full-stack web application using S3, Lambda, API Gateway, and DynamoDB. I'm Dr. Srithar, Associate Professor, Department of Experiential Learning, KL University. So this is our experiment flow. So that is, in this exercise, I'm going to show you how to calculate a exponential value of a number with the help of S3, API Gateway, Lambda, and DynamoDB. So for doing this, I'm going to keep all the front-end code into the S3 and server code into the Lambda function, database as a DynamoDB. For connecting S3 and the Lambda function, we are using API Gateway. If I want to send any data to server, I need to use API Gateway. So these are the steps to be followed. First, I should create a IAM role to connect Lambda and the DynamoDB. Then next, configuring Lambda, API Gateway, DynamoDB, and ES3. So let's see all the things in a demonstration. First, start with the step number 1 to create a IAM role. For this, I should go into the service called IAM and click on this roles and create a new role. Trusted entity is AWS service. The use case is Lambda. Click on next. Now policy is DynamoDB full access. Better to select all. Just to search Dynamo and you can select all these 4 policies. Give the role name as Dynamo full and create a new role. So that's it. We created the role. And the second step, as per our explanation, take a Lambda function. So for the Lambda function, create a function name with the function 1, runtime as 3.8 or whatever available version you can choose. Whereas change the role as DynamoDB full access role. Okay, so now here you can choose Lambda function, search for Lambda function, where I need to create a new function. Just to keep function 1 where the runtime is Python 3.12, whatever version it's comfortable, that's fine. Then for execution role, choose the existing role, whereas DynamoDB full as created in the step number 1. Now create the function. So, okay, so as soon as it is created, now what I'm going to do is I am going to test our application, that is simple application with a Lambda function now. So we are going to create a simple Lambda function to test our application, whether it is working or not. After that, we will test it with the real environment. So that is, we will connect all the services. So for this, I will take a code from my repository. The link also given in the description. Okay, so just to take the code. So the meaning for this code is, I'll tell you the meaning for this code. The meaning is that I need to import JSON and math. I'm creating one Lambda handler Python function. It is taken event and contact as the parameters. Okay. So whenever you are giving the event through the test case or any other external devices like Postman, it is the event. It is taken the number as the event. So where I'm taking the event as base and exponent. So finally, the result will be stored in math result variable. So you are displaying the math result with the JSON. So it is written the status code as 200. So finally, we will test and deploy the application. So first thing, you have to test the application whether it is running or not. We create a test case and we just pass the input through this JSON. So I already have this test event also in hand. So I'm just copying this. Just see that this is the JSON key as well as the value pair. Key is a base, value is a 4. Exponent is the key and 5 is the value. Simply save it and let's see. Once you have completed these steps, let's test it. Okay, it is written the value is 1024, successfully executed. That is 4 power 5, which is equal to 1024. Okay, so that's it. What we have completed now is, you just see this diagram. We have completed our Lambda function. Actually, locally we have tested the application. Now through API gateway, let's see. I will try to pass the input through the API gateway. So what I am doing, I am just duplicating this tab and go to the service called API gateway, where I need to create a new gateway. Let's see. What I should do is, I just create a REST API, just to build it, create a new gateway called the test, create a API. So now click on this create method and choose the method as post method, where the integration type is a Lambda function. Now here choose the Lambda function what we have created in the step 1. Steps 2, that is function. Okay, Lambda function ARN to be given. Finally create a method. And always whenever you're using API gateway, it is better practice to give cars enable. Okay, so cars means just to click on this slash, go to this enable cars and check all these default sets and save it. Reason for doing this is sometimes the resources may be available in various location, so it is better to keep cars. Now come to your post method, and where you can find something called the test. Just click this arrow mark and you can find a test. Okay, similar to that, just to keep the your base and exponent value, you can able to see the result in the API gateway now. Okay, just to test the application, you see that our results is now declared. Okay, now displayed in your API gateway itself. What happening after keeping that value? If I'm if I click test, the request is passed to the Lambda function. Now Lambda function, it return the value to the API gateway. So this is what you are getting the output. So as per this diagram, we are done with the API gateway. We are done with the Lambda function. What else remaining? Front end as database. So now let's do it for the database. What I should do is, I just create one more tab with the DynamoDB. Just open DynamoDB. Just open DynamoDB and click on this tables, and where I should create a new table with the name math. Okay, where you can keep the partition key as ID. You can keep this data type as string, no issues. Just to create a table. Now empty table is created with the name math. The status is creating. It will take another some 10 seconds to create. Click on the table and explore the table item. Now you can see the item returned is 0. There is no items are returned. What I should do is, I want to pass the data from Lambda to DynamoDB or API gateway to DynamoDB. Anything is possible. Okay, so what I am doing, I am just to modify this Lambda code. Okay, so initially I have only a simple Lambda function where I need to update. Okay, so I am taking the contents from my Git repository. Okay, only one update here is, the update is that you need to add a math table. Okay, table equal to DynamoDB dot table of math. Math is the table name of your DynamoDB. Okay, so finally I am just up. If I click submit, the result will be stored into the DynamoDB table. Okay, so that's it, we have added, and finally you are writing the data into the table also. So that's what I am giving, a response equal to table dot put underscore item, where items are items where and their primary key is ID. Finally the result is stored into the table. Okay, so that's it, we just deployed it and test the application again. And as I already said, so now what we have completed, API gateway, Lambda as well as DynamoDB completed. Let's check it. What we can do is, through API gateway itself we can pass the data. What happen if I click on this test, it will trigger the Lambda function. Lambda function which will return the result to the DynamoDB table. Let's check it. Click on test and you are getting successfully the result 1024. And now go to your DynamoDB table and refresh the table items, and you are getting the items returned as 1024. So successfully we have executed, that is API gateway working, Lambda is completely running, and DynamoDB table also executed. So now our ultimate agenda is that I need to perform this operation through the front end. So okay, sample output I like to tell you, I like to tell. So that is, this is how the sample output look like. That is, I need to get the input from the user, and finally it should calculate. So it should calculate as well as the result will be stored into the DynamoDB table. Let's see how to execute it. So for doing this exercise, we need S3 as the front end. Okay. So I'm creating one new bucket, that is S3. Go to the service called S3 and create a new bucket. Bucket name is, I just make it as KLU 990. You can keep anything, and click on this ACL enable and disable this block public access. Click on this acknowledge, and bucket versioning to be enabled. Create a bucket. So once the bucket gets created, and I want to keep that resources, just to go into this bucket, and I want to load the HTML file. I already have the HTML files in the document, in the Git link what I shared. What I am doing, I just take it in a notepad. I will tell you what to be done here. Okay. So here, what modification you have to do is, here important thing is, you need to deploy the URL, deploy the API gateway. That API gateway URL to be updated here. Okay. So let me go into the API gateway steps again. I want to deploy this API. How to deployment? Click on this API action, not to API action. Just to deploy this API gateway and choose the new stage, where the new stage name is production PROD, and deploy it. So you will get one URL. Just to copy the URL, okay, and just to replace the URL. What I have given, just to replace this URL. That's it. Okay, I just change the URL. Rest of the things are as usual. This is our HTML form. HTML form means it will to get our user input, that is base as well as exponent. And if I'm clicking that call API, that is button, the if I'm clicking that calculate button, it will call the call API function. In the call API, I have defined all the required things. So finally, my results will be stored into the DynamoDB table also. Okay, let's see. First, I should save this program with extension as index.html. Then all files, choose the index.html. Okay, so you see that, yes, I just replaced it. My file is available in the index.html, that is in the text of index.html file available. Okay, so what I should do, go to your S3 bucket, just upload your files. Click on this add files, text of, and index.html. Okay, so that's it. Now just upload the file. After uploading the file, what you should do is just click that select the file, go to action, and make public using ACLs. Make this choose this choose the file as a public access. Okay, so that's it. Close it, and what next is, go to this properties, come down and see and edit this. Enable the static website hosting, index.html. Just to give the index document name as index.html. So that's it. Just to save the file, and if you go into this property again, property section again, come down, the last option is bucket website endpoint. Click on that web endpoint. So you will get the file, that is the power of math. And now it is asking for the input. You just keep the index 5 base as a 5, power of I am keeping 7. And if I try to click calculate again, and you can see the result as your result is 7 at 125. You see that. Now what happening after submission, after clicking that calculate, what happened as per this diagram? You see that your front-end code written in S3 bucket, it is called the API gateway. Okay, and API gateway will trigger the Lambda function. Then Lambda function return the data into the DynamoDB table. Let's see whether it is updated or not. Go to the DynamoDB table and refresh the items. You see that last 78125 it is updated. I will try one more input also. I am keeping here as 10 and 3, 10 power 3 and try to calculate. You see that I am getting the answer is 1000 and just go to your DynamoDB table and refresh and I am getting the answer as okay, next answer this 1000. It is updated. Clear? So that's it for the exercise. Thank you.